Hello, welcome to the Queens of Poker. Lisa and I are so excited to have Maria Ho. Everybody knows her name, even people who are not that familiar with poker. She doesn't need a lot of introduction or bio. She's going to tell us about her new board game, if she's still playing, where she plays, and what affects those decisions, how she feels about women in poker and commentating. There's just so many places to go. Thank you so much, Maria. We are so happy to have you here. I don't even know where to start. Where would you like to start with your amazing career and everything that's going on?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. I feel like I've been in poker for, it feels like so long. And it is so long, but, 2 decades now. And so there's just so much about kind of my experience in poker and just seeing the growth of the game, just how different it's become in some respects, but then in some, still the same. And I feel like the interesting part is, as a woman specifically, I feel like some of the things I would have liked to see improve, and that, when I first started out, what I would have hoped to see in terms of the growth of more women coming into the game or the environments that we play in, some of those things have not changed as much as I would have hoped. So it's just interesting to kind of be in this place where, poker continues to be one of everyone's favorite pastimes, something that so many people, grow up with or have a story of playing with someone in their family. And that's how they first got started. I have so much reverence and respect for the game. I just wish that we could see some more positive changes within the game itself.
Absolutely. I'm on board with that 1,000,000%, Maria. What do you feel is the reason? Why are we not reaching more women? I know I have my opinion on some of the things, but how have you, because you've been in so many aspects of the game. You've been in cash, you've been in tournament, you've been in commentating, you've been in the production end of it. You have been in every aspect. Why are we not bringing the women in? Do you think it's not even focused on? Let's start there.
Yeah, I think it's like twofold. I feel like a little bit of what would naturally attract anybody to the game, not just women, things like encouraging women to pick up strategy games when they're younger, or encouraging women that it's okay to be aggressive or to be risk takers. Those things are a little bit ingrained societally in terms of just not giving women the opportunities or not fostering that type of like characteristic within, a young woman. I think, there's always kind of a negative stigma around like, well, you don't want to be like too aggressive because then maybe people are going to look at you like, like you're a B word, or, there's just like certain things that get stigmatized where I feel like women start kind of shying away from a young age from behaviors or, taking a position in terms of like their interests that doesn't align with what is the norm, I think, for what women should be interested in or how women should behave. And those are some of the skill sets and characteristics that you do need to be successful at poker. I don't think that women are taught to be the risk takers growing up. We're kind of meant to be more conservative in our thinking and in the way that we behave or choose our career path. And so I think that's kind of an issue. And that's just the broader issue. That's not really like within poker specifically. Obviously, that would apply to so many other male dominated professions. But then in terms of poker specifically, I think that the industry as a whole has just not done a good enough job in terms of outreach and making women feel welcome. I think there's so much lip service around, oh, well, we want more women to play, but what are they really doing? What initiatives are they taking? Are they putting their money where their mouth is? Because we rely on the marketing dollars of some of these huge poker tours and these well-known poker rooms to try to find ways to draw women in, and I think that we're not really seeing a lot of companies be willing to kind of stick their neck out and do that, because if it fails and if it backfires, that's kind of on them because they, might have spent something in the budget that, to go towards the initiatives. And if they don't work out, they don't want to have to face those repercussions. I do want to give like a special shout out to, companies like Poker Stars and Poker Go and Venetian and the people that like try so hard to be inclusive and try to have special events held just for women where women can kind of get a taste of what it's like to really just be thrown into the poker world and not just like, oh, let's just give them something to like bide their time. Or we think that women, and even win as well, it's not like, oh, we think women only want to play low stake. They're trying to give women high roller events and things like that. And all of those things where they're really able to kind of reach higher, levels of poker instead of maybe just being stuck labeled as women are just only interested in playing on a recreational level.
Right. So much in there, which I absolutely agree with. The aggression thing, so many women, right? Just as you said, we don't raise our daughters the same way we raise our sons to be that aggressive. And for a lot of young girls, like you said, you get labeled as the V word or, you're unlikable. Some women feel like it's a trade-off. If you're successful and aggressive, then you can't be likable. You can't be pretty. You can't be smart. Yes, you can. You can be all of those things. And I think that's where we really need to get at. I think poker as a whole still has that negative stigma, and reaching the moms, the young girls, all of the women to say, no, this is labeled as a mind sport. This is proven to be a game of skill and not a game of chance. Takes that away, but we don't have the marketing for that. We don't have the voices for that. The people that are really out there saying, this isn't, a bunch of degenerates in a basement. This is real people who are incredibly smart. I mean, the fact that we have genius level poker pros and mathematicians and doctorates and master's degrees, all because you need those math smarts. Me, I'm not so good with the math part. I'm all about the reading and the other skills that this game brings. I know we're going to talk about more because you see that also. Poker gives us all of these other things. And it does go back to business. I mean, Juli and I know with Poker Power, we talk about this all the time. We're talking to high-level executive women who are still afraid to risk and to be aggressive at the poker table, even with big chips, because it's so inherent in them to not be aggressive. And there's no reason not to be. Successful men, the people up at the top, are getting there because they're aggressive. They're going for it. They're not being afraid. When it comes to the marketing end of it, I think you're right. I think places like Venetian, Poker Go, there are quite a few, and I don't want to not list somebody. I think it's great when we offer on all of these. Borgata has been great with women. Kelly does an awesome job. That's my home state. WSOP, all of them with making sure we have ladies only as events for those women who want to test the waters. They like ladies events. I love the fact that Venetian was bringing high roller ladies events. We need them to not put ladies events up against those big guarantees that we women want to play, right? Stop putting the ladies event against the $1 million mystery bounty. We all want to play that. So, I think it's things like that where the marketing departments, where the other poker rooms can help themselves and all of us bring more women in. I definitely want to dive into all of the things that you've been doing. This TED Talk, you're commentating. What made you want to go into that realm?
Yeah, it's interesting because even though I actually majored in communications in college, I didn't really necessarily see myself as going the broadcaster route. Like, to be honest, I chose communications because that was like an easy major. And I was like, okay, let's do that then. But the opportunity just came to me through the Heartland Poker Tour, actually in 2013, where they wanted to give me a chance to be a strategic analyst. And at that point in time, no other woman had been in that role. We always have seen women in kind of the sideline reporting role in poker, or maybe like the anchor role for WPT, but never someone who is doing color commentary and actually providing strategy on the game. And so it was just too good of an opportunity for me to pass up, because I was afraid that if I had said no, would they be willing to give that opportunity to another woman? So I didn't want to shy away from the fact that I had no broadcasting experience. I didn't want to let that fear be the reason I didn't say yes, because I wanted to make sure that somebody was the first person to like walk through that door and to do the strategic commentary and like hopefully be somewhat well received enough so that other women will be looked at as people who can also do strategic commentary for future poker events. And so that was really important to me. And there was a huge learning curve for sure. Like I was not good when I first started. But I think poker has taught me, again, it was just that risk and taking that risk. And I had done it so many times at the poker table that it just felt a little bit easier to step into that role, even though I had no experience. And if I hadn't, done that so much in my poker game and at the table, I might have been too afraid to like take that leap. Yeah, I feel like it's just been kind of a whirlwind since then in terms of broadcasting. Like I've just never stopped since then. So that makes it, 12 years where I've been doing poker broadcasting alongside playing and other things. But I'm really grateful to be able to do both because I feel like I'm constantly learning because I'm constantly talking about poker. I don't have to just be sitting at the table. I don't just have to be studying. I am watching some of the best players in the world. I'm getting paid to watch poker, and that helps me with my own game.